This will be a different video than I normally make. Every now and then, something happens on my channel that is so weird, I literally have to stop everything I'm doing and address it. All of a sudden, my privacy videos are getting flooded with trolls commenting the same defeatist position that no matter what you do, you will never have privacy. They are usually posted extremely quickly, usually within minutes of me publishing my video. They instantly become one of the top comments in each video's comment section. And there are always broad, general statements on the topic without discussing or critiquing any particular point I make in my videos, conveniently hiding the fact that the commentators have never watched my video. If this was one of those investment scams, I would just ban these accounts as spam and move on. But these accounts aren't promoting anyone in particular, so what is going on? My channel has always been about offering solutions. I do highlight problems, yes, but then I promote reasonable things anyone can do, such as using Signal, Graphene OS, or privacy-preserving alternatives. So where is all of this trolling coming from? I think I have the answer. I think I know who this benefits and who this is targeting. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Hey, if you enjoy this sponsor-free content, support me on Patreon and unlock access to all of my podcasts, get early access to everything ad-free, and you can even get my merch. My content is very adversarial to social media algorithms, and it clearly shows in my YouTube analytics. This work cannot survive without your support, so please become a paid member on Patreon and join me in this fight from within. Thank you kindly. This is where I first noticed something was off. My video on the most private phone. I was hoping to start a fruitful debate on how we should evaluate what makes one phone more private than the other, and I pit all popular options against one another. Instead of that being the highlight of the comment section, it's this: 2 cups and a bit of string. Attach a third string if you want a conference call. Notice how this comment doesn't contribute anything of substance about how I compare the iPhone with Google Pixel or stock Android with Android forks. It's a funny comment, I'll give them that, but it's a defeatist comment. Because the implication suggests that nothing modern can be reasonably private, so the most private phone is just as bad as the least private phone, which is a blatant disinformation. I like someone else's response though. If you're both girls, you only need 1 cup. That's a good one. But there is more. The best option is to live in a cabin in the woods, no tech around you, and spend the rest of your life enjoying fishing trips. Most private phone is the one you don't use. The 3 golden rules to ensure cell phone security are: do not own a cell phone, do not power it on, and do not use it. There is no privacy on smartphones. Thank you for that big brain hot take. Yes, thank you indeed. What do you notice about all of these comments? What's the biggest thing they all have in common? It's that none of them even mention anything I have to say in my video. They're so broad and general, it's clear they didn't watch the video they are commenting on. They're just commenting on the general topic, because nowhere in my video do I mention that no phone is ever private. In my methodology, there are clear differences between the iPhone and most Android phones, and there is a clear winner and a loser. But these comments are not there to convince me. They're there to sow doubt in you, or rather, the general audience. Anyone could easily replicate my analysis and compare the results, but many of my viewers are not gonna have the time to do that, so I understand that a lot of people are gonna default to the judgment from the community. If that judgment promotes apathy, then my efforts to encourage people to opt for more reasonably private options are completely nullified. So after this, I went back to my video on how I don't use a SIM card, because that's a very spicy one. This is where I lay out all the dangers of telecommunication surveillance. It's not for everybody, I understand that, but it's meant to inform people and encourage them to find safer ways to connect with others. None of which, by the way, includes secluding yourself to a cabin in the woods Ted Kaczynski style. But the comments are instead: time to lock ourselves up in a room without electronics to get privacy these days. This is next level paranoia. Honestly, why even have a PH if you're never going to receive PH calls? At this point, just don't take your phone with you, use a beeper and a talkie-walkie for comms, and look at stars for directions. First of all, looking at stars for directions is cool as hell. So this is how I know that none of the people commenting even bothered to watch the first 10 seconds of my video. They're just commenting based off the title and the thumbnail, because right in the intro, right in the first 10 seconds, I lay out exactly how I use my phone as a Wi-Fi only device with all the capabilities to text, to make voice and video calls, navigate with offline maps, watch YouTube videos, or, literally anything you can do on any other internet-enabled phone. This is the phone I use. I installed Graphene OS on it, the most secure operating system in the world, and now it's essentially an anonymous device, and I route my whole device traffic through a trusted VPN service. Why else would you pay $1,000 for a smartphone if you're only going to make phone calls and send SMS texts with it? You're buying that smartphone precisely because it has internet access. And for me, 99% of my phone usage happens over the internet and only on my own or someone else's Wi-Fi connection. But yeah, if I don't use a SIM, I might as well ditch all the 99% of the things I do on my phone and just use a talkie-walkie or a beeper which has no up-to-date security and broadcasts to everyone, not just telecom companies. Again, just low-effort disinformation designed to confuse users that privacy solutions are too extreme to be reasonable under any circumstances, and if you consider them, then you must be mentally impaired with paranoid delusions. This is why I think these comments are either part of an organized campaign or the commentators are themselves a victim of one. That sounds exactly like something a paranoid person or someone who just lost an election would say. I understand the sentiment, so hear me out. So now we know that half the governments around the world are directly engaging in manipulating social media content to control public discourse or censorship is inapplicable. They do this by paying bot farms or sometimes troll farms with real people to sit at their keyboards and engage in comments and threads on social media. Let me give you some of the craziest examples that I found. Vietnam, for instance, has a 10K strong cyber troop dedicated to, quote, fighting against wrongful views in the cyberspace. The Chinese government hired as many as 2 million people on a mission they call strategic distraction, which the government uses to fabricate 500 million posts and comments on social media annually. And I can't not mention the infamous Russian active measures, which is a series of Soviet-era tactics still employed in Russia today that spread disinformation and deception to influence public perception, usually to lower the morale of the society or confuse the public about what's really true and what isn't. And these active measures are usually deployed in foreign countries. And I'm using these governments as examples, but any government with an intelligence agency is engaging, in my opinion, in some form of this kind of psychological operation. Because that's what all of this fundamentally is. It's a psychological operation. The goal of a psychological operation is to find a target's capacity for self-deception and then use it against them. A successful PSYOP will manage to spread apathy and make the populace disengage. In the words of Sun Tzu's Art of War, it's to make an army of superior numbers, not to fight. I think this is what's happening in the comment sections on my videos too. When somebody comments that your only bet is to live in a cabin in the woods, it fundamentally promotes resignation. Don't even try. There is nothing reasonable you can do whatsoever short of self-sabotage by locking yourself in a room without electronics. If you think I'm wrong, what else do you think these comments promote? Even if these comments are genuine and are not part of a PSYOP, intelligence agencies seeking to break your privacy rights definitely benefit from when more people resign. And if you don't resign, you are the suspicious one. What is bro hiding? You have nothing to fear if you have nothing to hide. It's confusing, isn't it? Either the system is so bad you can do nothing to protect yourself, or you're paranoid for trying to protect yourself. It doesn't matter if the messaging is contradictory. The goal isn't truth, it's confusion. And I love this comment. It's the government's job to protect digital privacy. All these tricks done by individuals, it's impractical. It's the government's job, the same government that tells companies not to fix software vulnerabilities so that it can hack them more easily, then the same government that couldn't protect its hacks from getting stolen, which then resulted in crippling ransomware attacks around the world, that government. Then there are comments that are designed to lead you into error and take away your initiative to take the right steps that would genuinely help you. Whenever they tell me something's private and super encrypted, I know that's where the NSA hangs out the most. So if you can't trust an encrypted service because the NSA is there, then you must use an unencrypted service, right? That's the logic there. I love these conspiracies about the NSA because it is the ultimate spying agency of the United States. We know they have some of the best hacking capabilities in the world. But we also know that encryption works. It makes mass surveillance too expensive to conduct because it's mathematically impossible to break modern encryption algorithms. If that wasn't the case, then we wouldn't have internet banking, password managers, and online accounts. This is the nuance of security. It's not really that complicated. It's impossible to build an impenetrable room, that's the assumption you start with, so all you can do is to make it too costly for thieves to pick your house as their target. That's it. If someone with infinite amount of resources has to target your house, there is nothing you can do against that. But that's not the situation we're all in, is it? PSYOP is propaganda, and as such, anyone can believe in it and spread it further. There are always going to be people who genuinely believe that either nothing can be done or that there is nothing to worry about. What makes this strange is when two contradicting opinions are the most popular comments in social media channels like mine. I cannot prove with certainty that any one of these accounts are trolls or genuine, but I still think that this defeatist propaganda needs to be countered. So this is what I think we can do to identify and combat these trolls. And let me know in the comments if we can do more. First of all, whenever you think there is a bot or a troll in the comments, report them. Fake accounts and bots should be purged from all social media. Second, whenever you see these fiery comments, think critically about them. Do they promote apathy or resignation? Who do their comments benefit the most? Be wary of comments and posts that want to affirm a certain attitude. Whether it's to spread confusion, uncertainty, or apathy, someone might be manipulating you. Remember that generative AI makes it very easy to impersonate profiles and maintain fake personas. You can spot them though by giving them a funny prompt in a comment and see how they respond to it. And last but not least, always go to the source. It's usually easy to find where a claim is coming from and whether it's true or not by searching for it online. Look for credible sources, multiple of them preferably, that are either academically sound or are good investigative journalism. I always provide these sources in the description of all of my videos. I do this so that you can do further research yourself and take away your own conclusion that might differ from mine. I often change my mind based on the evidence that I find in my research, and if you are someone who can appreciate that, please join my Patreon and help me do more research on more topics for a long time to come. Go to patreon.com/thehatedone and you will enjoy my podcast, posts, more engagement with me, and you can even get my merch. Thank you for your support.